All right, folks, welcome to another episode of Fish Door County TV. And today, as you can tell, we're out smallmouth fishing. It's the opener. It's going to be a great day on the water. We're up fishing northern Door County, and I'll tell you what, we're going to show you everything you need to know and where to go and how to catch these big Door County smallmouth. So stay tuned. We got a great show lined up for you, and we'll be right back. There he is right there. We got 4 or 5 big smallmouths following this fish right now. When you get on these fish up in northern Door County here, it is really something else. I'll tell you, another beautiful fish. We're jerk baiting today. It's early in the season, as early as you can get, as a matter of fact. And here's just another beautiful Door County smallmouth. We'll get into a little bit more of the details later on here on how you guys can catch these. But if you've never experienced this fishery, absolutely something you have to do. Jerk baits here today. We're throwing small lucky crafts. We'll get into more details in a little bit. Like I said earlier, this is just an average fish, at best average. We're gonna show you some big fish today, show you lots of fish, and show you how to do it. So we'll get this one back in the water and we'll get back to fishing.
Waiting for this day the whole year, the opener of smallmouth season, and what a beautiful day. We had some rain and some cold weather here this morning, and waited till this afternoon. And you know, we're dealing with water temps. It's really unheard of. Opening day, we're looking at 54, 55 degree water temps. Oh, here's one right here. Wow, I'll tell you what, we're throwing jerk baits. I'm telling you, this is one of my favorite times of the year, catching these fish. And because we got water temps like what we do, you know, we can give these baits a little bit more action. Sun is out. These fish are in high production mode right now. You can just see them. We're cruising this area. You can see them cruising all over. We're throwing these jerk baits, and you know, we're not really working them normally how we work them in cold water. Grab this one here. Not a big guy, but I guarantee you, some nice fishermen swim. We'll let this one go. I'm gonna get another cast out there. But this is some of the style baits. We're running 78 Lucky Craft pointer minnows, a little bit smaller size bait, and the reason is because of the depth of water. We're fishing a real fine break. You know, it's about 2 foot, breaks down to about 4 foot. So we're dragging bottom a little bit with the lips, coming over the edge, letting that bait suspend there, and those fish just come up and they just whack them. I'm gonna get back to fishing and see if I can catch a big one.
You know, guys, one thing to keep in mind when you're fishing these early season smallmouths is how and where you're exactly fishing them, with where being the most important part. A lot of times people will hear about an area where they're catching them, a certain bay, and they'll go in there, but they won't exactly know where to start or how to actually put themselves on fish. The one thing that we do almost everywhere we go is focus on transition areas. Right now we have the boat sitting in 7 to 8 feet of water, but we're actually casting up into that 3 to 5 foot break. And in most bays in the whole Door County area, you're gonna find transition areas, whether they're transitions from where rock shorelines dip into the first main break on the bay, or whether they're trenches that are running throughout the bay whether it being on the edge of reefs or little troughs that are dug out by wind and wave action over the years. And you'll actually be able to see these areas, especially when you have some sun like we do today. The darker water areas inside the sand flats like we're sitting in right here, those dark water areas are what you want to key on. That's the key spot in any bay or in any shoreline that you're fishing. That's where the smallmouths are going to move into. That's where they're going to sit in as they sit along these breaks. So key in on the dark water trenches or shoreline edges, and you're going to find a lot of smallmouths this spring.
Wow. Oh, wow. Oh, this is a nice one here too. Boy, it just seems kind of funny. We're just kind of located a few bigger fish now. I'm just changing areas a little bit. Oh, there's another nice one too, Mike. Oh, look how he hit that thing too. He just kind of gobbled it down. Oh, there we go. That's a nice one here. Get this baby unhooked. Little fat female here. Definitely some quality fish over here. You know, we moved a little bit. We found an area that's kind of unique. Got boulders. It's a little bit different than the area we've been fishing, and we've been finding out that these bigger fish relating to those areas. Gonna let this thing go. We're gonna keep fishing.
When you find these little areas where these fish are concentrated, and a lot of it's like we talked about, transition areas, and then also where the wind seems to be moving fish in and concentrating them, you can really put it on them in a hurry, I'll tell you. This is a pretty nice fish right here. Oh yeah, he's a pretty good one. These fish in this cold water, they can really pull. Really a lot of fun. Not a big fish, but absolutely a blast to catch. I mean, the colors on these fish, when they're in this shallow water up in northern Door County here, I'll tell you what, absolutely beautiful fish. So let's get him back and we'll see if we can catch a little bit bigger fish. Working jerkbaits is really one of the prime ways to catch these fish early in the season, you know. And there's a lot of ways you can catch them. You can throw tubes, you can throw grubs, but these slow-moving, suspending jerkbaits are really the ticket when this water's still relatively cold. It's warm for this time of the year, there's no question about it. But I'll tell you what, overall, it's still cold water. And these suspending jerkbaits, especially these Lucky Craft 78s and 100s, are absolutely the ticket when it comes to finding these fish and getting these big smallmouths to bite. Oh, there's one right there. These fish are absolutely a blast to catch. This is a nice fish here too. I mean, not one of the big ones that hopefully we're gonna show you today. This is a nice smallmouth anywhere you go. You know, when you can pretty much get these non-stop all day long, it actually makes just for a great day on the water. You know, a lot of people have a different opinion on how to work these baits, and we're going to show you our techniques in a little bit here and the way we like to catch them. But the one thing that one piece of advice I might give is to make sure that you change up. Vary your retrieves on a given day, experiment with how long of pauses you're making, how far you're pulling each jerk, how hard or aggressive you're actually working each cast. Some days it'll be one way, some days it'll be the other. Kind of let the fish tell you exactly what they want on a given day, and usually that'll help produce more fish.
Boy, I'll tell you what, Mike, you know, not only is running the baits the proper way, you also got to kind of have the proper equipment. You know, and some of the stuff that we like to use, you know, 7.5, 8-foot rods we like. Definitely we like a braid. We're using a 10-pound Duracast right now with a fluorocarbon leader on it. And I'll tell you what, really makes a difference, especially here. Now, we're not dealing ultra cold water, you know, water in the 40s. We're in the 50s here, so the fish are somewhat aggressive. But the nice thing is when you're dealing with these kind of baits, you can feel that fish come up and touch that bait, nudge that bait. When you're running regular mono, you just can't feel that. So that's really a key. You know, running the fluorocarbon leader on the braid, definitely going to put more fish in the boat for you.
You know, that's a good point, Tim, about the Duracast line, because there's a couple reasons we actually really prefer it over mono for these situations. The one being what you just mentioned in terms of sensitivity and feeling subtle bites sometimes. But the other is the actual fact that it really translates what we're doing at the rod tip, the action we're imparting from the rod itself, to the bait almost instantly. And sometimes that could be a key factor when fish are following or when fish are hesitating to actually take the bait maybe. And what I like about it is you don't have to make such pronounced moves with the rod tip, such hard jerks or such long pulls to actually make the bait do what you want it to do. Subtle little twitches of the rod can instantly change directions, can cause that bait to dart to one side or the other. And those little things like that, when it comes to the sensitivity of this Duracast line, will make a big difference in how many fish you catch this season.
You know, what I'm doing is I'm just kind of like dead sticking my bait right here. I'm just pulling it forward just a little bit. Ooh. Well, just like that, I'll tell you what. Sometimes that's kind of key. You know, even though we got, you know, like we were talking about this water being in the low 50s, and to get these bigger fish to bite, you just kind of slow that bait down just a tad. You know, it's kind of always a telltale. You know, you kind of know when you got a bigger fish when they just kind of latch on. You feel the little tick. You feel them latch on. This is a little bit better one. Not a monster, but they're starting to get a little bit better in size. And you know, and sometimes you'll notice throughout the day, you know, as you're out fishing, where the sun is. You know, we got good sun today right now, and that warms up that water. It could be just even a half a degree or so. Makes all the difference in the world. Definitely a nice fish here for sure. Unhook this one. Yeah, definitely a nice fish. You know, again, not a 4 or 5 pounder, but definitely a good fish. Throw this one back, we're gonna get another.
Right by the boat. Oh, it's a good one too. It's amazing how many fish this last hour or so are following baits right to the boat. It's actually really cool. Oh, that's a beauty right there. That is a beauty. And I tell you what, it's a good lesson to learn for everybody that we make a cast. A lot of people work the bait halfway in and then they reel it in and want to make another cast right away. A lot of times these big smallmouths will follow these baits to the boat, and you really want to make sure you finish off the cast all the way into the boat, because as you've probably seen from the film today, we've had several big fish. I mean, fish like this that have actually been, you know, taking the bait right by the boat, 5-6 feet away from the boat. So they'll short line hit it sometimes on you. Make sure you finish your casts off and put a few fish like this in the boat this spring. Let's get this guy back.
Right by the boat. And you know, it's not untypical to have these fish in this water. You know, when you're running these jerk baits, they'll slowly follow that bait back, and then it seems like right when you're going to pull that bait out of the water, they come up and they crush it. And boy, this is actually a nice fish, decent fish. We say decent because we're spoiled with the numbers of fish we're catching here. I'll tell you what, this is what it's all about. Now's the time to get up here. You want to catch some fish like this? Hopefully we showed you a few things today on how to catch these fish, and we're going to see you next week on Fish Door County TV.